everyone. Welcome to At Home with Sally. I'm Sally Clarkson, and I have the biggest privilege in the world to be with so many friends from all over the world who join me every week to listen to my stories, inspiration, biblical encouragement, and I am just so glad that you're here today. Thanks so much for joining me. Hi friends, it's Sally, and I'm so glad you joined me. I just thought I would record a little podcast because I've been thinking about something in the past day or two, and I thought it might encourage you. As you know, I am going to be doing many of you know that I'm going to be doing a Instagram Live at Tuesday, which is today when you hear this podcast, probably. You're going to hear it Monday night or Tuesday. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the issues that I have faced in my storms of life. But I was thinking that this is something that I wanted to share with you today. So I'll give you just a little bit of background and tell you kind of why I had this in mind. Sometimes as I look back on my own life, and I think that if we are going to make it through life and land on top, and still be strong, and still have courage, and still have hope, then a lot of what has to take place is surgery inside of our own hearts and inside of our own minds. There is no formula. Life is harder for some than others. There is no statement that I can say, if you do this one thing, then you will be okay. No. Wisdom and life and learning and education is a process, a whole long life process. But the essence of a person flourishing in life happens because deep in their hearts, they have chosen to believe things that are true, to believe in wisdom, to believe in truth and virtue, and then to act upon it in every place, in the storms and beyond. But I think that as I look back now, some of the raging storms, the raging seas, and storms of emotion that were inside of me were emotional. I was my own biggest storm. I was my own biggest default problem. And so the more healthy I could become, the more I could live in every part of my life better. So I think that sometimes these are some of the things that rage inside of us, and that sometimes we suppress them, sometimes we don't look at them full in the face. But these are the kinds of things I hear all the time from different people. And I have felt, sometimes even now I'll think, I am so selfish and petty, I can't even believe it. Sometimes I argue with my husband or my children over the stupidest things, and I know to resist argument. Sometimes I say and do things in a way that are totally embarrassing and unacceptable to somebody my age of maturity. Or I'm a terrible mom. I bet my children are disappointed in their lives. Or I'm a terrible wife. And I'm having a hard time in marriage. Or I'm a terrible friend. I must be a terrible friend because I don't seem to have many people. I hate my life. I can't find a way forward. And I can't tell anybody that because it seems ungrateful. And I don't want to admit to people how bad my life is. Why is this happening to me? Why is life so unjust? A shaking our fist at heaven sort of feeling. I feel so alone, and I don't think that I have anyone around me who really cares about me or takes time to notice. My personality is just too much. I think all the time. I can't stop thinking. I question everything all the time. People must get tired of me. Or my personality is too small. I don't know how to talk to people. I feel shy. I feel like I don't even know what it means to have a community. Or I'm too imperfect. I just can't seem to go in a 30-minute span of time without making some other mistake. Or I feel like a failure. Or I feel like a disappointment. And what I really want to say, especially as I look at these storms, is these are really not good ways to think about yourself. And they're not true things to think about yourself. All of us are imperfect. All of us fail. All of us say ridiculous things, and all of us disappoint our children. Yes, and you will do it again. And so will your children disappoint you. And it's a part of being human. God is certainly not surprised or disappointed, because God didn't have expectations to begin with that you would ever be perfect in your external performances of life. He didn't. He is mindful that we are but dust. God also understands our feelings, our temptations, our fears, our frailty, and the places where we feel very tender and vulnerable. I have a fun picture that I put up today that I hope will encourage you. And I was asking the question to a couple of people, and I don't know about you, but I hide from my family. They're there all the time. They want me all the time. So I was asking, do you have a hiding place in your home, or some place that you kind of go to get away, that you might be able to get away for a little while, or at least a place where occasionally you can have a few minutes by yourself to ponder life? The room that you'll see in the picture that I have today is one of my new places to work, to escape, to hide. I kind of hope that no one will make the extra effort to climb up the stairs to our second floor to find me. We all need to be alone sometime to put our lives back in order. And so on Clay and I have a bedroom floor where we have our bedroom and Sarah and Joy's bedroom. And then we have our main floor, which is where our living room, dining room, kitchen, and den are. And then we have a basement underneath all that, where the boys had 2 rooms and Clay had an office. And, it's kind of a fun room where there's games and where they watch movies and all that. So we kind of live in a 3-story house. Boom, boom, boom. And so this particular place is Sarah's bedroom, where she used to live before she moved to Oxford about 5 years ago. And then she married Thomas, and I don't know if she'll ever move back to the States. Who knows? But there's something about being in this particular place. And Sarah and I are the best of friends. She was my first adult, mature, best friend that I did many adventures with. And so when I sit in her room, it feels like sweet memories still linger. But we, along the way, one of the things that Sarah wrote about today, and that I like to talk about, I don't talk about it enough, but Sarah is a real adventurer at heart. We would always plan trips, and we would do fun things after our mom's conferences every year. We would go to Asheville, and we did our favorite things there. She is always, even when we're in England, she'll say, I found a historical house to go to, and it has a tea place to go. And so I think that she probably got it from me, because I raised my children on jumping in the car and going on a trip, or going to another place, or going to another museum, or a concert, or a play, or to discover a new field, or whatever, because the mama needed a less than boring life. Again, I'm just that way. I'm a little bit ADD. So it's really fun to go back into my memories with Sarah, because we would go to fun shops and we would go to fun places. Well, as many of you know, I have collected birds, but what you also don't know probably is that I've collected other animals too. Not everything in the world, but I do have a few bunnies around my house. And Sarah got a lovely a little statuette of a fun little scampering bunny too, that she took to her house and that her children loved to see. And so I thought, I need another rabbit, so that if the kids come back to my house, there's going to be a fun rabbit. And so one day I was shopping at one of my favorite dusty secondhand bookstores in downtown Colorado Springs, and there was a little rabbit lamp. It's so cute. You can see it in the picture. It was this kind of, it reminds me of a professor, some kind of a professor rabbit, who now sits over many of the books that are in Sarah's room. And the rabbit lamp seemed to call out my name. And not only that, when I picked it up, it was 50% off. So why the discount, I asked to the store owner. And he said, if you look at it right here in the wood, there is a little crack. He said it doesn't keep the lamp from shining or from showing light, but I can't sell it at full price. I'll sell it to you for you at half price. And I knew that this little lamp was supposed to be mine. Do you know why? Because the crack right along the neck makes me feel like I can be friends with this bunny. You see, I have a passionate heart. I want to be good. I want to be always loving. I want to be faithful, patient, unselfish, all those things. But there's this crack inside of me. I have many flaws in my own life. You see, I'm just the slightest bit wonky, and I have hidden imperfections too. And I thought, oh, that lamp is like me. It's imperfect, and it's as cute as it can be. Not that I'm saying that I'm as cute as I can be, but shouldn't we all think of it that way? We all have a dancing spirit somewhere inside of our hearts. And I was kind of thinking about this because one of my kids over the holidays said, "Mom, do you ever wake up?" Sometimes he said, when I wake in the mornings, the first thing that hovers over my mind is like a cloud of very unspecific feeling that I've disappointed someone, or I've failed at something, or I've done something wrong. It's just right there under the surface. Do you ever feel upset with yourself, or maybe like you're not doing something right in life, but you can't put your finger on why you're thinking that? And I was just telling Nathan Keelia that last week. I so sympathized with him because I think many of us carry the burden on our backs of weariness and a sense of inadequacy, and we're all inadequate. We all need to get over this. We're all going to have fallen short. Sometimes we carry difficult marriages, past scars, tension of hard relationships that will never end, financial burdens, guilt for our failures. And I've gotten so many notes lately from women who are struggling with these things. But what I really want to say to you all in the midst of your emotional storms, because if you can get rid of some of your emotional baggage, then you can be a little bit lighter and deal with other things. Don't try to ever work yourself to a place of perfection. It will never happen. God really, really, really longs for us to rid ourselves of performance, of works that we carry inside. He came so we wouldn't have to work ourselves to heaven. We can't ever work ourselves to heaven. Just this week in my quiet time, I was reading again. Joy and I memorized it at one point, and now I've forgotten a little bit of it. But we were reading the Sermon on the Mount, and as I was reading God's words, Jesus' words in Matthew 6, I was so gently touched by the kind, merciful heart of Christ. In a world where the Pharisees were measuring spirituality by external performance, getting it all right, saying the right prayers, giving the right offerings, I remembered what Jesus had said to the Pharisees. He said, "You tie up heavy, burdensome loads and you lay it on men's shoulders, and then they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to help. And all of your deeds are done for other men to see." Okay, my friends, isn't that what we do and what the world does? And you and your children and your husband, who's imperfect also. I know he is. Our world focuses on external behavior. We don't see people in their context, in their personality, in their story. But when I read the words of Jesus, I find hope for my imperfections, my failures, my crazy personality. I was kind of imagining, which I do, what it was like. There were crowds gathering as Jesus climbed to the top of the mountain to teach women and men and children. Women were holding crying babies, and they were struggling to get their children settled and to call them back to their picnic blanket where they had some munchies for them. Men had scowling faces among the crowd with looks of defeat. Spouses were glancing at one another with hurt feelings. There were cripples. There were teens smiling and giggling and flirting with friends they had known their whole life. There were children running and playing tag. Okay, this was a cross-section of all the people of life. A whole host of people from the slice of life were gathering to hear Jesus speak. It must have been amazing. But Jesus was perfectly at ease with their antics and their natural feelings and their thoughts. but he was looking inside their hearts to prepare to teach them about what those who were gathering needed to hear so that they could truly understand God better. His message was one of comfort. His message was sympathy. Imagine, he's gathering all these people in front of his disciples, and they're wondering what amazing thing is he going to say. The tension was stored up in their hearts. And Jesus gave a message they longed to hear, but they didn't know that they needed until he spoke. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Are you poor in spirit? Well, Jesus says, blessed are you. He sees you. He wants to make you content, happy, blessed. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the gentle, for they, the gentle, not the strong, the pushy, the critical, the loud. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. It is not fair what's happening in the world, for they shall be satisfied. He cares that you are a person of justice and that you are weeping over all the sadnesses in the world. Jesus is for you. Blessed are the merciful. He looks at people and says, who has mercy? Who has compassion for one another? Blessed are you. Blessed are those who are pure in heart, for they shall see God. Don't be cynical. Don't expect badness. Be pure in heart. Look to God and expect his purity, his goodness. Be like a child. It's just way too weighty to have to be responsible for the whole world. Blessed are the peacemakers. You don't have to win the argument. Make peace, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. If you have been persecuted because you are trying to be faithful and gentle and peacemaking and forgiving, God says you will have a place in you'll have a chair in his concert hall. Blessed are you when people insult you and persecute you and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward in heaven is great. For in the same way they persecuted the true prophets before you, they will persecute you. And so I was thinking, in contrast to being a performer, in contrast to being somebody who feels like you need to be perfect or you can condemn yourself, he came to this whole crowd of people and said, you know what, if you're discouraged, if you're down, I'm for you. If you are mourning, I'm with you. I care about you. And it's only when we come to the unconditional love of Christ, which means more to me every day, because the older I get, the more I see there is no end to how much I can try to be mature, and I will fail again. But God absolutely is holding my hand. He is with me. He loves me. And there's a way forward for my flawed, cracked personality and yours. I feel like it is through his love that we will transform the lives of our children, our husband, our marriage. Now, I'm going to talk just a little bit in the Instagram Live today about how it's not always easy to love people because people aren't always lovable. So I'll talk about that later. But I do feel like the more we can model to others, right as we are acceptable, God will help us grow forward. But the storms of our emotional life need to be looked at, and we need to say, carrying this darkness isn't what Jesus wants me to do. Now, I will say that because we're in such an isolated time, I think we carry things that we were never supposed to carry alone. We were supposed to have somebody else. I mentioned in the podcast yesterday that I talked to my 2 girls this weekend, and they relieved my burdens. As a matter of fact, someone, I was out working today, and someone said, I want to buy your coffee for you today. Did you know what happened to me? Tears came to my eyes. I thought, wait, what? I'm the one that buys coffee for everyone else. I'm the one that makes dinners for everyone else. I'm the one. And it brought tears to my eyes. It was an unexpected kindness. And I think that we need to be kind to ourselves. But I also want to say that one of the ways that we can keep from falling, I talked about this yesterday, we have got to reach out and develop relationships. God ordained that the world would be reached through real people who are in community together. And we need someone to notice how we're feeling so that we can feel understood and so that we can get rid of some of the burdens that we carry. So anyway, so much more to say, but I want you to look at yourself and say, am I burning inside because of the storm of my own soul? Am I being self-critical? Am I dark because I haven't had a rest? I haven't had a friend. Jesus wants to bless you, and he sees that you're hungry. He's going to feed you with fish and loaves. And I don't want to be prescriptive. I don't want to just say that your troubles are going to go away, because it appears that we are living in a very troubled time. And everyone I know, including my family, are right in the middle of troubles right now. But I do know that there is a place forward where there is light, where there's peace, where there's love and calmness, and it starts with us blowing out the stress. It starts with us learning to be still. It starts with us finding a haven of comfort, which God is so willing to give to us. And so I'll talk more about the specific ways in all of the difficult places that I learned this and that. It's not prescriptive. It's wisdom principles that God gave to me so that I could pass on compassion and gentleness and love to others that he brought into my life. All that to say, if you are cracked, you are in good company. Lord, bless these precious ones. In some way, lift the burden of guilt or of self-criticism or of anger or of whatever it is they're carrying today, Lord. Give them a place of beauty and peace and rest. I pray that each of these might in some way find a friend or a mother-in-law or a neighbor who they would be able to share gently with their burdens that they're carrying, so that they can know that they are worthy of love, of your love. Help us to be the kinds of believers that extend your hands in love and goodness to those around us, so that more people can feel the freedom of your acceptance. Lord, thank you that you are the God who calms the storms. Calm the storms of my precious friends today. And I pray all of this in Jesus' name. Amen. Blessings, my friend. Blessings, blessings, blessing, my friends. I will be on Instagram Live on sally.clarkson on Tuesday at 1 o'clock Mountain Time. I hope you can join me, and if not, then I just want you to know that I really appreciate all of you who are writing me and participating in this time of storm podcasts with me. And it would please me no end if you would consider getting your own copy of this sympathetic book. Bye-bye. I hope you've enjoyed our time together today and that you'll join me next week. Be sure to look for more inspiration on my blog at sallyclarkson.com. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.